Hi everyone and welcome back to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. On this episode we sit down with Peter Lawson, the Secretary of Easington Colliery Brass Band. With over 56 years in the band, Peter shares his incredible journey from joining at just 11 years old to helping steer the band through challenging times after the colliery's closure. Peter reminisces about the evolution of the band and the vital role it continues to play in both local heritage and community spirit. Peter also shares how the band ended up recording with none other than Sam Fender on his moving track Remember My Name on his latest album People Watching, which is a great story. We explore Peter's decades of dedication, celebrity encounters including Elton John and even Ant and Dec, and his deep-rooted pride that keeps the brass band alive. So settle in, grab yourself a cuppa and enjoy our chat with Peter Lawson. You're listening to Geordie Pride, Voices from the Northeast. I'm Hayley and alongside my cousin Angela, we're thrilled to bring you the stories that share the heart and soul of the northeast of England. Each episode we'll dive into the lives of extraordinary Geordies and those who call the northeast home, exploring their journeys and celebrating their achievements. From the time to the teas, from the arts to the sports fields, we're here to share the tales of passion, resilience, and of course, Geordie Pride. So whether you're from Whitley Bay or Washington, Gateshead or Gisborough, or you're just fascinated by the spirit of the Northeast, join us as we natter with the best the Northeast has to offer. Welcome to the podcast, Peter. Thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in the Northeast, where you come from?
Yes, I'm the Secretary of Easington Colliery Brass Band. I'm originally from Easington, so my heart's always been with the colliery. I joined the band when I was 11-year-old. I'm now 67, so I've been in for 56 plus years. And out of that, I've been the secretary of the band for 35 of those years. I'm the longest serving secretary. I'm one of the longest serving band members ever. And when I was 11-year-old, I didn't even know there was a brass band. I just went down with my friend just to make the numbers up. And I've been there ever since. Proud of my little achievement of continued attendance to the band. And hopefully I've made a big impression on the band, because the band is about 109 years old now, so I've been for the best part of that 50% of those years. And when the colliery closed in 1993, likewise around the country there was a lot of bands who fell by the wayside, because every band was sponsored by their particular colliery. So when all the collieries closed, all monetary income to keep a band going had gone. So we've been mainly self-supporting through those years since 1993.
Oh, it's an achievement, that, Peter. We've been there for such a long time, part of the furniture.
Yes, it is.
So what instrument do you play, Peter?
If we go straight back to when I was 11-year-old, I was in the junior band, knew nothing about music, picked up this battered old instrument. It was a flugelhorn at the time, and it was the only instrument that was left. To get the basics, the rudiments of music, I used this flugelhorn, and I wasn't suited to the flugelhorn. You've got sort of an embouchure, it's a comfort fit to how the mouthpiece fits onto your mouth. So a small mouthpiece was no good for me. I went through a number of the instruments to get where I was, which was the euphonium, and the euphonium in orchestral terms is like the cello. So like a solo bass instrument. And I was on there for the best part of 25 years, assisting John Oates, who was our principal euphonium player at the time. And then there was a gap in the bass, the tuba section. So we were able to get a new euphonium player in, and I moved on to an even bigger instrument, which was the tuba. And I've been there really ever since.
Wow. So I can't pronounce it. Euphonium. Euphonium. Thank you, Peter. Yeah. So is that as big as a cello?
No.
No.
It's
Can't picture it.
No, me neither.
No, where trumpets are normally where they're pointing out, and you have like the bell pointing towards you. Most of the other instruments sit on your lap, and the music comes out of the bell from above your head. So with the tuba, they normally come way above your head, but the euphonium, it stops just at your eye level, so it's really a small tuba.
Get you? Yeah, I can picture. Yeah, what an achievement! I would love to be able to play an instrument. Haven't got a clue. I could play chopsticks on my little keyboard back in the 80s, and maybe there's a little tune on my recorder, but probably that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we had a close relationship, myself and my 3 or 4 friends who all attended that particular first night. And we ended up being pretty good for our age. And, we were sought after like with other bands, and we were right in our element. We just loved being out playing sort of every night. If there was a band playing on a Monday, oh yeah, we'll go there. And if there's a band playing on the Tuesday, we'll go there. We'll do our own band practice at Easington on a Thursday, because it was a Thursday and a Sunday at Easington. And then even on the nights when we weren't helping bands out, we still went to the band room and just playing through music. It's all we wanted to do, is just play music all the time. And it made us get to know the music. It made us all get to know each other, so that we all played as a unit. But it just made us better players in a short space of time. It was full on 100% just brass bands. We even took them to school. There was no lessons of brass bands, but it was during the breaks. We would meet up and play. And one of our teachers, Mr. Holden, Barry Holden, he was the biology teacher. We later found out that he conducted Langley Park Colliery Band, and he ended up taking us for like during the breaks for lessons. So it's been a fantastic experience. And even now, I keep pinching myself that some of the things that I've been involved with and seen and gone. We've toured all parts of Europe. We done brassed off like on the theatre. We done the last performance of Billy Elliot on the West End stage. Saying like Sir Elton John and like all the past actors and actresses of Billy Elliot who turned up on that particular evening. All top actors and actresses that played on stage.
That's amazing.
It is. Without banding, I would never have done what I've done.
Yeah. So the brass band that you've got now, Peter, what other instruments is within that brass band? Because I'm totally, I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, you know how like an orchestra is set up. You've got the violins, which are like the cornets in a brass band. Yeah. And then you've got the violas, which are slightly bigger violins, which would be our middle section of the band, and tenor horns and baritones. Then you've got the cellos, which is like the euphoniums. You've got the trombones, where all orchestras have trombones. Yeah. And then you've got the basses, which are more like the double basses. So we have 25 brass players, which makes up a brass band. So you have 10 cornet players. They're not trumpets, they're cornets. They're slightly different to a trumpet. They give a more mellow sound. And then you have 1 flugelhorn player and 3 tenor horn players. Now, the tenor horns, like in orchestras, the French horns, where they like turn and then sort of bells are like under their arm. That's what they're meant to be in an orchestra as well. But the tenor horns all the same. The bells point up-overs in brass bands. And then you have baritones, which are slightly bigger than the tenor horn, and they're part of the middle section of the band. But the baritones, they're not in an orchestra. They're not like a French horn or anything. They're their own particular instrument. Then the euphoniums. And then you've got E-flat tubas and B-flat tubas. The B-flats are monstrous things. They're just massive, like they're the height of me. They're the massive things. And they're about £12,000 each if you want to buy one.
Oh, wow. We need to start saving.
So, like I say, you need with them, you need 2 E-flat basses. They're about £10,000 each, and it's quite expensive to keep a brass band running.
So, in terms of where you started, Peter, to where you are now,
Yeah.
What's the differences been? So, like, I know that the collieries funded that, and obviously with the mines have all closed and things. So, how do you become more sort of self-sufficient now? How do you keep up the funds, basically?
We were really struggling. We were down to next to nothing, and it was pretty despair to put letters out to try and get someone to help sponsor the band, just as a like to make do until we get back on our feet. And we managed to get a sponsor from Michael Watt, who co-owns the Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club in London, and he's a multi-millionaire from New Zealand, but he's also a big advocate of the Durham Miners Gala. He sponsored that event for years and years when the Miners Gala was really on its last legs. So Michael kept it going. So Michael was happy to get involved. I'm in contact with him regular to tell him how the band's doing, and he still helps the band in any way he can. So we're thrilled a bit to still have Michael Watt involved and on board. We also own our own band room, which was the old pay office when the colliery was going. And part of the building, it's just like a bungalow, really, just a one level building. And it's been a building over the many years that's changed its identity. When the pit shafts were first being dug around 1890, 1899, something like that, this part of this building was built, and it was for the engineers to have a building that was set up for any of the larger work that was getting done. And then so part of the band room is around 1890, somewhere around there. And then they added on around the 1930s, where the backyard was, that they extended it. So this is the last building really on the Durham coalfield that is still being used. And when we took it over, we got it as a grant. I managed to get a grant from the Sport and Arts Foundation, which was part of Littlewood's pools, at the time. And it was in wreck and ruin. It had dry rot. Some of the floorboards were smashed in. It wasn't a very healthy place because some of the spores on the dry rot, you can get chest infections. And so we managed to get European funding as a grant. Again, I was part of that for around 130,000. And we got the whole of the band room totally refurbished, top to bottom. But part of it I wanted as a little community space. So we've got a cafe running, and I run the cafe, and it's open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it's run by volunteers. Myself, I'm a volunteer, and any proceeds goes to the band, and it's been very popular, and it still is. It opened, we got the work done during the lockdown, and in 2022 we officially opened as a cafe. It's called the Peer Note Cafe, and using the note as in brass band note. It was the P office or the Peer Note, so it's a bit of a play on words. We do that for 4 days a week. It's open from about 9 o'clock till 2 p.m. Where the band room's situated, it wasn't on the pit grounds, or it would have been knocked down. It was on the road opposite to the pit itself. That now is a nature reserve. That has been totally transformed, and there's thousands of people go on that walk. It's opened up all the way, right the way around the country. You can walk, and part of the walk is to coming from Seaham all the way down to Hartlepool. You can camp. It's rough and rugged. There's nothing there. And people who maybe come up from London that visit Durham, stop at Durham, quite a few people do come to the cafe during the summer because they just enjoy the walks. As I say, it's just unspoiled. There's nothing there you can purchase or anything, just for long walks. So we get that, but we get our regular clientele that come in most days. We keep the prices down to a minimum because Easington is quite sort of impoverished, really. So at least there's a warm space. If there's any bad weather or if people's cold, then they can come in, they can have a sit, they can have a cuppa. We don't mind. You haven't got to purchase anything if need be. I've got 4 girls who work at the cafe as well. Carol, who's the main lady, even though it's down as me as the boss, I would never class myself as a boss. Carol runs the whole shebang, really. She makes everything on site. the pies, scones, mince and dumplings, whatever you want, she makes. It's all homegrown, local produce, local foods, and it's well received. So that was one way of financing the band, and that's continuing. So the band, I have to say, is in quite a healthy place, and it's probably the best the band has ever been in its 100+ years.
Wow, sounds amazing, Peter. I mean, you should be so proud of everything you've managed to do with it. It just sounds, yeah, you're really thriving with it. And that definitely sounds like my kind of food.
It is, yeah, and I am proud, because it was strange. Again, another story when the band struggled just in the late 80s. We lost a lot of players. We were going through a really bad time. We were down to about 11 or so players. And the secretary at the time was one of those players who just walked out on the band. And I didn't really want to be the secretary, because I had no know-how whatsoever of how to run a band. It was pretty daunting to me. The chairman, Keith Watson, was a little bit worried, and I went down to his house on this particular evening, and I said, look, I'll take the secretary's job on. I'll do as much as I can. I'll need a bit of guidance, but I'll make sure that I'll work 24/7 to keep this band going, because I don't want to be now the secretary that puts the final nail in the coffin of Easington Colliery Band. And that's really how I got the secretary's job. And that was in the late 80s. And at the time, my first few jobs, again, was daunting, because there was a concept going on, which was Gateshead Garden Festival. I don't know if you'd ever heard of that before, but it was something that came out. I think it was every 4 years that chose a particular place, and it was a place of totally run down. It was just an absolute swamp area, and they would then spend millions and millions of pounds to get it all done up, and you've got people coming from all over to visit it. And then it was open for, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks, something like that. And then it was all taken away, but that land was then bought, and houses were then built on it. So it was a fantastic concept, and I don't know if it went on very much past the Gateshead Garden Festival, but it was massive. The band, before I took the secretary's job on, had 3 concerts at Gateshead Garden Festival, and we had no band. So I had to go out to try and find a band that helped us out. And from there, I tried to get players who weren't associated with bands that would then come and join Easington Band. So little by little, 1 or 2 were coming in. We were getting a name again for ourselves. So 1 or 2 more came in. And we ended up with a decent band that kept going. We had a major sponsorship with Saga Holidays as well at the time, where we were doing 26 concerts through the summer, where any people who were stopping in Durham, they stopped at one of the universities in Durham, and we would play on a Tuesday and a Thursday evening to the holiday makers, and it was very popular. They loved the band playing the concerts. It was a good evening, and it was well paid. We were guaranteed 26 concerts paid at whatever it was at that time, and it saw the band through. And again, I brought players in who I thought might be interested in joining the band when we were doing the Saga concert. So it was like twofold, getting out there doing concerts, but also looking for new players to come in as well.
Sounds like the X Factor. Peter, how would you, in your words, how does the local community feel about the Colliery Band? Obviously, it's been many years since the collieries have shut down. Has the attitude changed? Is it, because myself and Angela, we're from Ashington, so we're from a mining village. We know the passion behind the mining community, and then obviously the Colliery Band's associated with that. Like, how have you seen that over the years? Like, how has it changed with the shift of collieries closing?
Massively. It was different when the pit was going. You had other outlets. You had like sort of the first aid groups. You had so many little different sort of facets going on that was associated with the colliery. The football, the cricket, like all this, they had their own teams, and the first aiders, they went out to different competitions and all different things. So we weren't a priority for the band. I've got to pay sixpence for you. And there was a bit of humming and hawing at the time. And it was a little bit fractious because when Armistice Parade was on, which was somewhere around the 9th of November, somewhere, and it used to be the Sunday nearest the 11th of November. That was always the weekend of the Mine Workers National Competition. So all the brass bands that had, like all colliery bands, would meet up at Blackpool to play in the Mine Workers competition. And it was massive for us because it was one of the biggest competitions in the country, if not Europe. But it always ended up on the Armistice weekend. And the people of Easington used to hate that. Where's our band when it comes to, like, sort of look at our local lads who died for the Easington people in the war, and there's no band, you can play the last post or whatever. So they used to get the Salvation Army in to do the job. But little by little, as the colliery closed and all the other, like, little sponsored first aiders and things, they just felt a bit. We kept our name as Easington Colliery. We've always kept that colliery name because we want to be associated with the colliery, but also its northern heritage of coal mining in the Durham coalfield. Some of the colliery bands have taken the colliery out, and I think that's wrong. We steeped in a lot of history that's now no longer there, and he is now our Labour government, like, crying out wanting coal, and all the mines are now shut. But now the people of Easington absolutely love the band. We do as much as we can for them. We do the Armistice parades. We do as many jobs as we can. We even now do a little Christmas carol service outside the cafe. Carol puts on, like, free food and drinks for the kids, and we'll do as much as we can. We get people coming in. As I say, the cafe opens around 9, but I'm there from about 7:45, and we've got people coming in who love the band, and they just come in and just gas away. Hey, Peter, what about the band doing this? Or I'd love to see the band up in the club, and we'll put the buckets round, you'll get some money. And I'm saying, yeah, it's just trying to find time, because at the moment we're just so busy. But it has changed immensely that the people of Easington really love their own band, because, again, say Durham Miners Gala, the Easington banner and Easington band are together, and there's not many now in the Miners Gala that have their own banner and their own colliery band with them. You might have, say, Cox Colliery, but they might get a band from Yorkshire because they haven't got a band. Things like that, that they see that close association, that the band is trying to do as much as they can for the local community.
So I bet one of the things that they've been asking you a lot about lately, which is exactly what I'm going to ask you now. A few months ago, we found out that you guys had performed on one of Sam Fender's songs, which is an absolutely beautiful song. I love it. So how did that come about? Like, how on earth did that happen?
I think it was in 2023. I got a phone call from Sandy Smith. Now, Sandy Smith's big in brass band, and he's been up and conducted the band on a few occasions. He plays, he's one, like, a premier soloist in brass band, and he plays for all the top bands, your Black Dyke Mills, your Brighouse, Fairy Aviation Band. These are the higher echelons in, like, world bands. With me asking him to help us out on a few occasions, he got a phone call from Marcus Graves, who's one of the editors of the People Watching album. And he said that Sam Fender wrote this song, Remember My Name, for his grandma and his granddad. And it's because he loved them that much that he wrote this song with his grandma having dementia, that he wanted a song writing, and he wants to put it on the album. Sandy got the tune, or Sam Fender playing it, and then Sandy arranged the brass band music. And that was in the March, I think it was, the March of 2023. And then we got a phone call saying we would like to meet up with you to do the recording of Remember My Name in May of 2023. And we were looking all over. They asked me to try and find a place to do the recording. So I thought what was up was Red Hills, which is the home of the Durham miners. That's the Pitman's Parliament, where it was associated with the Parliament. But they went out and it was a little bit too ringy. They needed a more of a dead sound. So they ended up finding a recording studio in Morpeth. And they said, we're going to do it here, Peter. And can you meet on the so-and-so day? So we all met up. We all had our uniforms on because, like I say, we were told they were going to video it as well at the time. But he says that Sam probably won't be there because he's out and about. He's got like other things going on. So we all got there. We started to do the recording, and then Sam and all his group came in. And they said that, like we're so eager to hear it. And he was very emotional. He was crying through it, And it was then that he told us the story of why he wrote this. This is totally out of context with his normal music. It's such a sad ballad. But it depicts, as I say, the love that he had for his grandparents, and he was devoted to them. And with his grandmother having the dementia, she had a colliery background. It was through that they asked Sandy, do you know a band that has a colliery background that might be interested in doing it? And Sandy phoned me, and because he said, yes, I think I've got a band. And he phoned, he said, Peter, would Easington be able to do it? And I said, no problem at all. But I hadn't told the band then. That was it. There was no way that they weren't going to do it. So that's how it happened. It was just we were at the right place at the right time. Maybe it's lucky that I'd got Sandy up to conduct the band, and maybe, as I say, it was through that we got involved. It was a fantastic day. He was that emotional about it that he sang on that day with the band playing it. That wasn't the official recording. He just wanted to sing. And again, he was very emotional. He was crying through it, and all his group, they were all there. They just couldn't believe how great it was. And we were there from about 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock, recording the same piece over and over again. He wanted it done slightly different, louder in these parts, quieter in other parts, so that they had all different ways of it being recorded, so that he could choose which one that he felt would be suitable for him to sing with. And then after that, there was a pub next door, and he invited us there, and we were there for, 2 or 3 hours, and he was just one of the lads.
You're partying with Sam Fender.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Jackets as well. Yeah, I gave him one of our concert jackets. They're like a mess jacket, like an army jacket, and it's like red lapels. It's black, red lapels, and it's got gold epaulets, and so he held onto it. And
I have seen a photo of him in that. Is there a picture of you both with him, and he's got that jacket on?
Yeah, send you that.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. I'll share it on social media. That would be brilliant. So the obvious question is, what is Sam Fender like in real life? Because he seems so down to earth, and so I think that's to be fair, a lot of Northeast people in the limelight do just seem very. You could just go down to the pub with them and have a good laugh. What's he like? Is he as calm and collected as he seems?
Yeah, just one of the lads. Just nothing was a bother. He would go over and just start chatting away. There was no airs and graces about him. He is really just a colliery lad, really at heart. He would fit in exactly with my ethos of sort of colliery life, and he just fit in. But I said, well, why, because half the band's Sunderland supporters, and so
terrible.
So the old black fight might go down with a bit of a problem. So he said, what about if you want us, if I can get a band to play at St James's Park? I says, you might have to twist my arm on that one, mate. But
are you gonna go to St James's Park when he does this summer? Because I'm going. I might be able to see you.
You never know.
Oh,
you'll have your Sunderland supporter t-shirt on, won't you?
Yeah, we're going to have red and white shirts on.
So I think the answer is they might be there, but he's not allowed to say it.
There's things going on behind the scenes. I don't know as yet, but I'm hopeful.
Is it one of them? Is it one of them things, Peter, that you're not allowed to tell us when they're on the rain? I'm not allowed to tell you there's something in the ethos, there's something happening, but I'm not allowed to tell you.
Yeah, I've signed secrecy clauses.
But that would be amazing, though, wouldn't it? Like playing at St James's Park, because I watched him there a couple of years ago, and the atmosphere is just fantastic. But I could imagine like the band energy like there would be intense. I can imagine.
Yeah. Again, we were thinking it would be great if we could do Local Hero, something like that, and Remember My Name. But yeah, about that, we were still unsure if it would go on the album. And we finished that particular day recording, which was in 2023. Heard nothing more about Sam Fender. We just got on. But I told everyone, you can't say anything at all. Nothing to no one, And in fairness, the band, every single one of the band, never said a single word. And then as the year or 2 years go by, we don't think anything of it until one or two say, he's got dates now for St James's Park. What are we doing here? Are you in contact with them, Peter? I said, I've heard nothing whatsoever. And then I get a phone call from his manager saying, Peter, he's going to use Remember My Name as a single, as one of the 4 that's going to be out. We want a video done. Was it on, I think it was going to be released on Valentine's weekend. I think that's when it was going to be released, February the 14th. That's right. Can you turn up to do a video of Remember My Name on the 8th of February? Just like that. This was a week before. And I'm thinking, God. I've got 25 plus. Because I said, but these people have jobs. There's nurses, doctors, engineers who work at weekends. It's not like you can drop everything at the drop of a hat. And
I'd be there in a shot.
But because I said, Sam Fender wants us to do a video. Yeah, I'm there. I'm okay. So everyone turned up and we done that video. Now, we were there all day for those little shots that were done in the video of that. But I've been told there's going to be an extended version of that where the band will be in more of it. So, yeah, then we did the video and they said it's going to be out for release on the Friday. That was the Saturday. So it was a full week to edit it all, and then it went out for the release on the Friday. It was as quick as that, and then like I say, everything just went out, YouTube and everything, and I was watching all the comments that were going on. Wow, fantastic, using a brass band, and thumbs up like that, and like all the way through, and it was really good.
It did go pretty viral. I mean, the amount of noise I heard about it on social media was amazing, and then when I heard that they've used a local band, it was like, oh, that's like, it made it even more emotional, I think, because I'm not afraid to admit it. When I heard the song and when I saw the video, I did cry. It is very touching, and like knowing that a local group was involved just added more meaning and more like depth to it. So when it was released, was that the first time that you'd heard the finished article?
No, I had the full recording, but I couldn't. Like I said, everything's gone through me. I couldn't even let the band know. I just had it, and because his manager said, "Peter, do you want to hear it?" I said, "Yeah, I would love to," but he says it's only for you. So I had that a few weeks before, so I knew what it was like, and yeah, I mean, it's so emotional,
How did it feel, like hearing it, like the first time? Was it
just waiting 2 years really for it, and then to hear it, just unbelievable. The band sounds fantastic. Just the depth of sound, like the basses, the bottom end, and like the top end of the cornets and the middle, just all together, all like sonorous, beautiful, warm sounds. And then him, like the lyrics, they're just unbelievable lyrics. All things that probably touched his life. About to them, it's a council house. To me, it's a home. And just fantastic. And I know I was talking to the local funeral director at Easington, and he says, Peter, this track, Remember My Name, he says, I've got 9 funerals today. 7 of them want this thing. So he says it's going to be massive for people wanting it for funerals. But people just relate to it, and some of these like proper hardened rock people who love Sam Fender just keep saying this has got to be like the song of the decade, and it's wonderful to see and to be part of it. And also what I'm hoping is that it's a little niche for possibly other bands to get in. Brass bands don't need to be just traditionalists of we'll have a half-hour concert in the park or a club job or things. The bands are adaptable. They are now. They weren't in when I first started, but they're so adaptable to play all these sort of heavy rock rhythms, nice melodic, warm sounds if need be, if there's a ballad. But again, for us to be associated with Sam Fender, I'm hoping through like the banding fraternity or the banding movement, we've had so many positive messages back saying, this is fantastic for the brass band movement. May it continue, and I hope it does, and I hope it helps other bands as well.
Oh, it's amazing for you to just sit and talk about this. I'm fascinated because I love Sam Fender. I'm very jealous.
I'll get these autographs for you. So.
Oh, I'd love that. So, Peter, all the things that you have done, I think I know the answer to this one. All the other things that you have done, like all the other shows and things like that, I bet nothing kind of touches the sort of the hairs in the back of your neck feeling and just the awe of like just being with, like doing something like that. Is there something else that, apart from Sam Fender, that you've loved to do, or something that you haven't done already and that you'd like to do anyway?
No, I've done it all. I'm happy with what I've done. Sam Fender will go down as probably the biggest thing because of who he is. He's mega. He's traveling all over the world at these arenas. But the Billy Elliot thing was unbelievable. That was like the West End. And even now we talk about that. We were marching onto the stage of a West End show with Elton John coming up and saying, God, I love that. And, he gave all a cuddle, and like we'd done the final bows at the end, and that went until 1 o'clock in the morning. That was just a fantastic show, and something again that as a band we would never have been able to do in our normal lives. I played for Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics at Sunderland Empire. That was his 65th birthday, and he wanted a brass band.
I love Eurythmics. Love it.
He was fantastic. He's a Sunderland lad, and that was unbelievable. Again, I've travelled to Germany, Austria, all over, just, but because of, I suppose it's the latest one, that Sam Fender and who he is, and like the bloke he is, and the faces of the band are just in bewilderment that we're on the same stage as Sam Fender, and no one can take away when anyone gets that album, whether it's a record or a CD, and they look down and they'll see Easington Colliery Band, and that'll never go. You might be able to pick these LPs up 30, 40 years' time in a jumble sale or whatever, and that Easington Colliery Band will still be there, whether the band's there or not. That will always be there, and they'll never take that away from the band.
Yeah, and I imagine it'll be with you all for, like you say, for the rest of your life. It's like a momentous occasion for you all to remember and pass on to be able to say, hey, my granddad was on that track. It'll be one of those lovely moments. So do you think there'll be any exciting plans or anything moving forward off the back of this? Have you had anyone else been in touch with you?
No. Well, we're really busy through July. I don't think we have many days off. We're absolutely busy. You have the Durham Brass Festival, which is like 2 weeks, where the Durham Council have gigs on all the way through, and they also set the benchmark because we're doing a joint concert with a group called LYR. The lead singer, as you would call him, is Poet Laureate Simon Armitage, and he writes all his poems. So he is the front man, but he doesn't sing. He narrates his poems while he's got the guitar and the organ and the drums going away. But he has us as a band that backs him. So it's about category D minds. And we'd already done this concert before in 2022. And we got an award, a Heritage Achievement Award for that. And it was voted on by the local people, where ourselves and LYR. And it's on the 18th of July at Red Hills, as I say, the Pitman's Parliament. And it's going to be live on Radio 4 for that. So we have that. We have another concert on the following day up at Annick Playhouse, where we're doing a concert. And the Durham Miners Gala, we're doing a competition in July. We have so much on, and we look forward to every single job we have. But our diary's open in case Sam Fender contacts us to say, yes, we're free.
Yeah, of course. I'll be like, I'll be right there, Sam. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So if you could give anyone that was young and wanted to join a brass band like you did when you were 11, like what advice would you give to them for just getting involved in community music or bands?
Go for it. Music, it doesn't matter what type of music. If you join a brass band, you can get the life that I've had in banding, and I've enjoyed every single minute of it. Through banding, I met my wife. I've been married 43 years, 44 years. I worked at the pit 20 years down the pit at Easington as well. I've been colliery through and through, but just going back, just get there, just enjoy your time, enjoy making music. You don't have to stay in banding, because music with a brass band, the same notes occur if you're playing in a drums or if you're playing a guitar or a violin. If you've got the rudiments of music, you can put your hand to anything. And the discipline that comes with it, it's amazing sort of what music can do for people, and any type of music. And I would say anyone who's interested, get to your local bands. There's lots. Ashington, I know a lot of the lads from Ashington, great bunch of people. They've got a great setup there. I don't know if they've got a youth band. It's difficult because there's no schools now really teach brass. I think there's one or two in Northumberland, because I've helped one or two out when they've been at like the Mining Museum, and just get involved. Just find out where your local band is and just get along. They'll love you to come along. They'll love you, to help out and to get you on that first rung of the ladder of how to learn music and play brass instruments and have a great life.
That's great advice. Thank you, Peter.
Amazing. You've done so much, Peter. I'm in total awe of you, not just because you've been with Sam Fender. I think it's...
I'm just a colliery lad at heart. Never thought anything like this would ever happen. I joined a band at 11-year-old thinking, because I was a bit of a tinker sometimes in the band, but then when you become a little bit older, a little bit wiser, get the secretary's job on, you can see that you've got to have 50 heads on to try and get everyone. But I didn't think I would have this lifestyle. I think it's changed my way of thinking. It's changed my way of how I approach people, because I've got to ask people to come and join. You've got to have that like diplomatic head on as well. But it's a great life, I have to say.
Oh, it sounds to us like you've had a fab life so far. May you continue as well, Peter.
Yes, yeah, I hope so.
So in terms of the Northeast, we always ask this question. When you're not in the band and you've got time, when you're not like doing all this lovely things with Sam Fender and out and about doing all these concerts and things, is there a space or a place or anything that you would associate with the Northeast that you love to go? It could be anywhere where you chill out or you love going to, anything like that. Anywhere that you would say that people from elsewhere is going to come and visit?
Because this is all full on. We look after our granddaughter every day, so we're limited for where we go. But whenever we can, I think we do a walk along Roker, along Seaburn, along Whitburn, right the way along 6-7 mile. It doesn't matter what type of weather. We do love a walk along there. We don't travel very far. We don't say, oh, wait, let's get in the car and go here, there, everywhere, We do like New Biggin. One of our players, Dennis Todd, he's no longer with us. He was my best mate when he was in Easington. Loved him to death. He was our principal cornet. He had Dennis Todd music. He lived on the seafront at New Biggin, so we used to visit Dennis a lot and look out to the two like the monument out to sea, you know, of the two people. We loved it there. We love the Northumberland, like sort of beaches, unspoiled. It's amazing, miles and miles of beach, and there's no one there. I think all you Northumberland lot end up coming down. And like, there you've got all that lovely beach that there's no one goes to.
Oh, well, lucky, aren't we?
Yeah, I've noticed that though. Like when I go to the beach, it always just seems so quiet, and it's just lovely because it is so nice. You expect the whole of Northumberland to be there, but it's not, and it's just there's nothing better than just like a really quiet Northumberland beach with the castles and everything. It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
Spoiled.
Bay, we love.
One of my favourites. Yeah,
we just park up. We bring our picnic basket and we have our picnic and then we walk, like I say, from like the information centre onto the beach and just keep going as far as we can. Just walk and walk. We just it's another lovely place. But that's about as far as we go. We have our granddaughter every day. I've got another 4 grandchildren that live in Italy. My middle daughter lives in Italy, so we go out there as often as we can.
Nice.
Lovely. So we'll hop into the quick fire questions, Angela.
Yeah. Who's going
to go? You go first. You take a pick.
Right, Peter. I'm just going to pick a question here. What's your favourite Geordie saying or word?
Away the lads.
That's a good one. If you could collaborate with any other Northeast artist or group, who would be the top of your list?
I don't know many, to be honest. I think it would have to be either Sam or the Eurythmics, Dave Stewart.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a shame Ant and Dec aren't doing music still.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I'm saying that. I have met them. There's another one. We were on Britain's Got Talent, and that was years and years ago, and we got through to the television stages. There was another couple of bands as well that had also been interviewed. Even though we got through, they said that they didn't want any brass bands to be on like the live shows.
Oh, no. I remember seeing you on there, with the band. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it was good. And Ant and Dec and Amanda Holden, she, like I say, we had a chat with her and Simon Cowell. Yeah. And it was.
You're just mixing with all the celebrities, Peter.
Isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I forgot about those.
I'm going to take up
too many.
Yeah.
Next one, let me have a little look. Ooh, what's your go-to order at Greg's?
At Greg's, it's normally a sandwich. Oh no, saying that, we like our steak bakes.
Do you know this for season 2 of Geordie Pride? Steak bake has been very popular.
Is that right?
It was sausage rolls. Steak bakes are coming into their own.
Yeah, I think it's the way that they cook. I think like the pastry's nice and brown and crispy, and sometimes if they're soggy, we don't like them. But Greg's do good steak bake.
Yeah, they've got good pastry. Greg's do.
Yeah, I'm slavering.
Before we say goodbye, is there anything that you'd like to share? Any upcoming events that you'd like to tell people to come along and visit you at? Again,
that would be nice at Alnwick on the 19th of July. I think it's already being advertised at Alnwick and on the Alnwick Playhouse website. We're in the throes of setting up a theme for whatever concert program we're going to do. There could be something called like Brass Extravaganza or like sort of something like that we're looking at, and we'll have like guest soloists to play. But we were there last year and it was full. It was a full house and we loved it. That's why we've asked to come back.
Brilliant. I can put a link to the Alnwick event in the show notes as well, so people can check that out and see if there's any tickets available as well. Where can people find out about Easington Colliery Band? Have you got social media? Is there a website that we can look at in case we've got any budding artists out there?
We've got our Facebook site. We've got our website. We're on Instagram. We're on them all, and they're all come under Easington Colliery Band.
Fabulous. And we'll pop those in the show notes as well, so people can come and follow you all and find out what you're up to.
Lovely.
So that's great. Thank you so much, Peter,
Thank you.
for spending time with me and Angela this evening. We've loved hearing about your journey and all of the exciting things that you've got up to, and we're very jealous of your celebrity connections.
Very well.
But thank you so much.
You're very well. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support Geordie Pride further, then don't forget to subscribe, share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram @Geordie Pride. Until next time, keep that Geordie Pride shining bright.